But Albert Einstein was one of the smartest people in modern history. And he said that the most important question you can ask in your lifetime, not on a Sunday when you're bored, not on Labor Day weekend, not when you just those moments where you feel feeling philosophical. The most important question in your lifetime is whether or not you live in a friendly or hostile universe. See, if you believe you live in a friendly universe, it's got you back. That's why I see myself as an inverse paranoid. I can walk into prison and I know that the universe is involved in a secret, hidden conspiracy to make me happy and successful. And it did.
Okay.
But if you live in a hostile universe, you're coming from a fear-based mentality. Your amygdala part of your brain is in overdrive because now you're feeling more separate from rather than connected to. Then you're going to make decisions that are based on, say, scarcity and fear. You're going to be in survival mode. That's a corridor that's available to walk down. I've just never seen anybody walk down it for a period of time that's had any level of fulfillment. So it takes courage. It takes the willingness to fail. It's like, my passion is to do X. Well, I was just sailing last week in Croatia. We hired a cruise ship and had 30 students on a private boat where we sailed around Croatia. We did the same thing last year, right in the middle of COVID in August, when the world was in lockdown, no hotels were open, and we wanted to prove to the world that you could create magic on your own terms. So we hired our own cruise ship, and we took 30 students like we just did, and we sailed for a week doing amazing things. And I just got off the ship a few days ago, came here to Bulgaria for my event this weekend. And one of the ladies that was on the cruise ship, one of the statements that she was sharing was, I spent my entire life doing what my parents wanted me to do so that I could be the good little girl that I thought that they needed in order to get love and validation and approval and acceptance and all the other stuff. I feel miserable, unfulfilled, considering antidepressants. And then I realized what was going on. I was not walking my path. Now, I don't even know what my path is because I spent so long, so many meters walking another one that I feel lost. Well, that's okay. The awareness of that is a great first step, rather than the blind continuation down an alley to a future that's not bright. Mm-hmm. So being able to pause and take a breath, most people don't even know they're lost. They're too busy doing the same thing day after day and wondering why, magically happiness doesn't show up. If you want the secret of happiness, it's pretty simple. You don't have to sit on a mountain for 20 years. You don't have to go and search for the Holy Grail. Happiness is pretty simple. Don't complicate it. Happiness is nothing more than the byproduct of thinking happy thoughts. Case closed. And you can think happy thoughts no matter what's going on in the outer world. The problem is most people have rules around what has to happen in order for them to give themselves permission to feel or think happy thoughts. That's playing the game of feel great when.
For me personally, I've been kind of, skeptic about this kind of, positive psychology. Mm-hmm. And I must say that, thinking happy thoughts sometimes just feels unauthentic, like it's not true.
Because it's against your rules.
I kind of, need to connect also to my sadness, to, I don't know, maybe also sometimes feeling a victim. I'm very frank here. And sure. I think that, also others in the audience might feel the same way. How do you deal with that?
Where do you live? Where do you visit? See, if you live in depression and occasionally visit happiness, I can predict your life. Okay. If you live in happiness and occasionally visit depression, I can predict your life. It's going to be very different. So one of the great illusions of humanity is the fact that we think that the purpose of life is to be happy. It isn't. The purpose of life is to be authentic. Now, happiness is an emotion, and as human beings, we are designed to feel a range of emotions. I didn't want to be happy at my mother's funeral. It was a time to grieve. It was a time to connect. It was a time to feel sad and allow myself to go through that cathartic process so that I didn't try to suppress it and come up dysfunctionally in other areas. But I was visiting grief on my terms. I wasn't trapped there. I wasn't saying, oh, poor me, the last living close relative I have is now gone. I have no brothers, no sisters, no grandparents, no aunts, uncles, or cousins that I'm close to. So I could have chosen to be a victim at that level. But no, nor did I want to be happy and put on a brave face and try to suppress it under that had been inauthentic. But once I'd processed that, once I'd honored my mother, Once I connected through that. I lost one of my best friends 2 days ago. I raised a glass for him that night. I connected. I felt sad. I remembered the great times we had, and I let it go. But where do I live? Where do I visit? If I'm chasing happiness, as so many people are, under the illusion of thinking that'll give them the life that they want, the reason that most people can't feel happiness, or they try and it's inauthentic, is not because it's time to be sad or time to be a victim. It's because their rules for happiness are being broken. Oh, I'll just think happy thoughts. Well, if you put that over the top of an unresolved belief that says in order for me to be happy, everything in my life has to be okay, then trying to think happy thoughts is not going to work. So it's not about anything other than the mismanaged imagination of your own rules and values as to what has to happen in order to fill in the blank. I'll give an easy example with fitness. Some people, health is a value. I value health. But what has to happen in order for me to feel healthy? For some people, I have to go to the gym 4 times a week, eat organic food, not miss a workout, drink clean water, fill in the blank, never eat sugar, whatever it may be, have 12% body fat.
Stuff myself with superfoods.
They have the rules, and if those rules are not met, they will not allow themselves to feel healthy. So they've been to the gym 3 times that week and they're about to go for their 4th workout and the gym's closed. Now they're denying themselves access to the thing they value most in terms of a feeling because of a rule that set themselves up to do that. Not because they're not healthy, probably healthier than everybody that walks into McDonald's. But for me, I have a rule for health is a value. But I choose to experience and feel healthy when I take a deep breath, when I drink a glass of water. That is an excuse not to go do a workout. I'm going to train because that's what I do as somebody who values health. But I'm not going to deny myself the ability to feel healthy because of complex rules that get in the way. Does that make sense?
It does.
Apply that to happiness and you have your answer.
Tune in next week for a very special episode of the Recursive podcast. Irina welcomes the serial entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and author, Peter Sage. And if you are just as passionate about innovation as we are, hit subscribe for the Recursive podcast on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. We're everywhere.